Everybody, how you doing? We got Kristen and Clarence. Thanks for joining tonight, guys. So, what I wanted to talk about today, hey, what's up, Jeremy? What I'm going to be talking about this evening on the live chat is sales and marketing for your business. And the reason I wanted to talk about sales and marketing is that when I got it started with my coaching business, this was probably the one area where I struggled the most because in my past I hadn't really been exposed to too many opportunities or experience where I had to do this kind of sales and marketing. So what I want to talk about is, my sales and marketing, what it was like for me going through that process, what it's like taking a person that you don't know, taking someone from a unknown customer, a stranger pretty much, to a paying client. And then I also want to talk about the science of that and actually how do we go about getting a person that we don't know to become a customer of ours. And then I will talk a little bit about the work I've been doing with Black millennials and how I've been helping them get started with business. So please drop any questions that you have in the box and I'll get to them as we go through the call. Other than that, I'll go ahead and get started with kind of the stuff I was going to talk about around sales and marketing. So as I was mentioning in the beginning, for me, sales and marketing hasn't always been easy. The thought of going out and having to talk to people and convince them to give up something, give their time, give their energy, give their money for something I have in exchange, that's all sales is really is. And we're always selling, whether we're trying to convince somebody to get something from us from the store or our spouses to do something for us. We're all in the business of trying to convince someone else to do something. And for me, I've always been of the mindset that people should just get it. But I'm like that, I want the facts, I want the numbers. But in sales and marketing, it's not really about that with your customer. You really have to look at what is it that the customer is feeling. You have to get into their heads. You have to really understand what is it that they're thinking. And with sales and marketing, part of your process is going through and determining that. So, some other videos in the past, I've done I've done things around how to get your customers, how to talk about your target market. So all of this kind of related together when it all builds up to you going out and doing sales and marketing, with your clients. So Clarence has a question. What's Black millennials? Um, can you help me out, Clarence? Here, give me a little bit more explanation. I would say Black millennials are anyone between the ages of probably just graduated from college all the way up to 35. So this is really people born in the early to mid 80s, up to the early 90s. So this is the generation we're talking about when we're in millennials, and they're millennials have pretty much graduated from college and they're in their careers. They are working or they may be looking to do other things outside of working in a corporate job. So that's about or who Black millennials are for my business, and that's who I primarily work with. Mostly men, but I have worked with women as well as I've started to mature my program as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Clarence, and thanks for the question. So I was talking about sales and marketing and my process of going through and creating and making someone going from a unknown customer to someone who wants to buy your service or not. And you know, at times, particularly when I was working on other businesses, I actually have a mobile app development company as well. And at times when I was doing marketing and sales for that, it required me to do cold outreach. I would have to email people. I would have to pick up the phone and call teams and coaches trying to pitch my products and services. And to be totally honest with you, I didn't want to do it. I wasn't totally comfortable. Was kind of scared of some of the things that I was going to get, the rejection from those calls. And a lot of times when we think about sales and marketing, we think about the bad stuff. Oh, I'm going to reach out to all these people and they're going to tell me no. People are going to cuss me out over the phone, or I'm going to email them, get no response. I'm going to get these nasty comments. And the honest part is, yes, you are going to get some comments, but the majority of people aren't going to be like that. And for me, I had to get over that fear. And one of the things that really helped me get over that fear was just educating myself more on the market and understanding what these people wanted. Because if I could answer my fear was that they're going to ask me questions that I did not have the answers to. When I did my research and I practiced and just learned and got more comfortable with what I was selling and the materials, it made it easier to do a lot of that outreach to people who didn't know me to see if they would be potentially interested in meeting or even particularly interested in buying my service or my product. Like I said, the rejection was a big part of me being scared. That fear of not being successful at something is what kind of held me back initially. And I had to get my ego in check. I really thought that people would just come to my product just because it was from me. I was making this great product. I have a great reputation. So just buy. When it was like, no, people don't really buy for your reasons. They buy for their own reasons, their own personal, their background. They're trying to solve their problem. They may agree with you in all the statements that you're making about your service, but what is it that's really in it for them? What is it that's making them, emotionally tied to your product or service? Nori asks, how do you push through the feelings of rejection? I would say that in my life, I've dealt with rejection early and often. And for me, I never quite looked at it as quote unquote rejection. I just looked at it as feedback. So, regardless if I got some good information, if I was able to sell my product to a prospect, if I was able to sell my apps to customer, or if I wasn't, I didn't look at it as bad or good. I always look at things as just feedback and data. It's really just a data point. We're at a starting point and we want to see if that next data point is higher or lower than my current step. So, I've really systemized my thinking. And with that, a lot of people, and me as well at times, get emotionally caught up with what I think is the next best to do. The next best thing to do based on, what I feel, as opposed to kind of letting the data guide me and letting my emotions kind of overtake the next direction. And the feeling of rejection doesn't go away every time I pick up the phone to call a client, or a prospective client. Anytime I send a message, that underpinning of rejection is there. It's right in the service that says, hey, this person may not even like what I'm doing. They're going to be like, oh, don't call me ever again. I don't want anything to do with you. That's a feeling that doesn't go away. But over time, with practice and learning to use it as feedback, as opposed to thinking of it as something negative and having a positive aspect to everything that happens to you, that's how I was able to push through that rejection. So thanks, Nori, for that question. We got Mike join. Thanks for joining, Mike, and Nina. Thanks for joining. We're talking about sales and marketing, and then asking and answering any questions you have around that. And I'm also talking about how I help Black millennials in their business. So before that last question, we were talking about, how I went from being scared to email people, to call them, to be able to do this on a regular basis. And another one of the things that I was doing was I was judging, how the call was going to go, how the email with these clients were going to go, how these conversations were going to go before I even had a chance to talk and meet with them. A lot of times we create expectations. So before I send an email, I'm thinking this person is not going to respond. When I get on a call, I'm thinking, oh, this call is for me. It's for me to convince the other person that they need my product. When in reality, when you remove your ego out of the way and really start to think of the customer in mind, as opposed to, I think this is what's best for the business, and just asking them, that's when you become, better at sales and marketing. And it's really about listening to the person as opposed to giving them a solution. So a lot of times when I'm talking to my customers, or potential customers, I'm really just listening. I'm in a state of diagnosis. I'm just like a doctor. When you go to the doctor and you go and he checks you out, he doesn't just jump in and say, oh, you have a broken leg or you need this type of surgery. He takes his time. He does his measurements. He checks your heart rate. He checks your temperature. He checks your blood pressure. He checks these vital signs. He sees how you're doing overall before, putting a prescription out there, because a prescription without diagnosis is really malpractice. And look at it the same way in your business. If someone needs a solution, if they're trying to solve a problem, and you don't understand what they're doing, if you haven't listened to what they're trying to get done, then you're blocking yourself out from hearing the actual solution, because you're so blinded by your ego and wanting to solve that problem and thinking that you actually have the best solution, when the honest answer is you need to listen to your customers more to really determine what that best solution is. So along with, judgment, I had to learn, it's really about having a heart-to-heart conversation with the individuals in your market and your niche. because at the end of the day, we don't have business problems. We all have personal problems that we're really trying to solve. We wake up every day trying to improve ourselves in some way, form, or another, and we're out there looking for products or services to take us to that next level. You're out there looking for a course maybe to improve yourself in business. You're looking for a coach. You could be looking to lose weight, so you're looking to get on a new diet. We're all waking up trying to improve ourselves, and the key is really learning, what are the things that people are trying to improve in their life, and what are those underlying issues that are causing that need and desire for them to want to change. So, hey, Nick and Miguel, thanks for joining. We're talking about sales and marketing questions today. So feel free to drop any questions you have in the comments. Or that before I got that. Okay, so we're talking about heart to heart, and you really want to get to the underlying reasons or the underlying pain around people want to problem solve. So one of the main, we'll use the example of the weight loss niche. And in the weight loss niche, a lot of people want to lose weight because family issues or death could be a reason. That's a real good reason to want to get in shape and improve your health. And we all come with different reasons, and until you really get down and understand that pain, heart to heart, understanding people, having conversations with your target market to truly understand why they buy a service or why they buy a product, until you do that, it's really hard to be able to market and do sales to anyone if you don't understand why they are at the point that they got. And there's really a science behind taking someone from a non-paying customer to an actual customer, and it really starts with clearly defining their current state. So if we're in the weight loss niche and I'm wanting to target people who have high diabetes, who have high blood pressure and have diabetes, well, what is their current state? Well, they're currently taking medications on a regular basis. They have to go to the doctor every so often. And I'm familiar with this niche because a number of people in my family have diabetes or have high blood pressure. So this is something that really hits close to home for me. And people who are trying to improve their health and improve their situation around diabetes and their high blood pressure, the underlying pain is, oh, my diet isn't good, or I don't know routines, or I don't know the foods I should be eating. I was actually talking to one of my clients, and he was having health issues around his skin and was having acne problems because of the food he was eating. And he didn't know that was an issue, that the food he was eating was causing that issue. So, you really have to start to dig down deeper to really understand some of the problems people are having. And so you can get to that heart to heart and understand the true motivations of why people want to buy your product or service. And then once you define that current state, you want to then define what does it look like to get them to that future state, or to that point that they want to be. Get them to that point where after they use your service, that they've lost weight, they're improving their workout regimen, and they're eating the right kind of foods if they're trying to, if they're in the health industry or in the health niche. And then you want to use that current state to that future state, and then your service, your product is in the middle. It's that gap. So you fill that gap from what they currently are at to where they want to go. We call that engineering a gap analysis. And once you do that, you can then start to ask questions around, okay, how do I get my potential clients, prospects, from their current state of being overweight, unhealthy, not eating the correct foods, and having skin problems due to what they're eating, to the point where they have a balanced diet, they're working out regularly, and they're able to take care and keep their skin healthy and fresh. So that was just a few things I wanted to discuss about sales and marketing. So share some of my experience and some of the things that I'm going through, some of the things my clients have been going through with sales and marketing, and get any of your questions answered. So like I said, feel free to drop any more questions that you have. Thanks for joining Edward and Daryl to the call. Appreciate it. And then lastly, before I jump out, I wanted to talk about how I help Black millennials with their consulting businesses. And this past week, one of the main themes I've been working with my clients is around the anxiety and the stress of not knowing where to go. So in my program, what I really tell my clients is, You really want to think of it as you're building your favorite Lego set. So you want to take the correct pieces, in your business, and they go in a certain order to actually build out this figure. So if you've ever played with Legos, if you built anything, you know that you usually have pieces in a box that come, and then you have directions. Well, in business, no one really is giving the pieces that you need in the box and the directions, and that's really what I'm helping my clients do, and that really reduces a lot of the stress and anxiety that they have because, for the most part, they struggle with not knowing where to go. They don't have that knowledge from their current circle, from their friends, from their family. No one really taught them how to go out and build a successful consulting business. So they're at the starting gate, but they really just don't even know where to go. And the second thing is that they really want a system that they can use to propel themselves forward. They know that they need a system if they want repeated returns, if they want repeated success, they need to systemize everything that they do. And one of my clients in the past, he quit his job, he started his own company, left, had some savings, and was doing it, but he ran out of money before he was able to make a profit in his business. So he had to jump back in and go to work full time. But now that he's working with me, I'm working with him to actually set up a system for him, and he's going to be doing this while he's still working. And he's planning on quitting his job as soon as he has enough money, once again, to make his dream happen. But this time, he's has less anxiety, and he has a system from working with me that's going to help him systematically go out there and get customers, refine his ideas, and really get that success that he was not able to see the first time he quit his job. So that's what I have for you guys today. I want to thank you for joining the live chat again. We talked about sales and marketing. We answered your questions about sales and marketing, and I gave you my experience, things I've gone through when I was developing my sales and marketing expertise in my business, and also working with my customers. And we also talked a little bit about how I help Black millennials reduce their anxiety and stress by helping them implement systems and repeatable processes in their business. So if you're interested in the coaching program, feel free to reach out to me. You can ping me here on Facebook, or you can email me at jp@gerardponce.com. So thanks, everybody, and take care.